Thank you very much for having me. It is always a pleasure to be on your program.
Titan chapter was lost a couple, more than a couple, three, maybe four, three outstanding athletes in the form of Joan Blake, Kathleen Blake, and Diana Bruno. What can you tell us about that?
Well, what I can say to you is this: that I have worked with a couple of the Titans athletes. I know the ins and outs. I know some of the issues that they have. I won't really share too much of the personal issues. For me, I am disappointed with the breakup. It's like a relationship where you're friends with husband and wife and there is a breakup. You too are affected by the breakup because you are familiar with both individuals. And in this case with the Titan Club, if you look at some of the early videos that I did, it's about me interviewing Michael Frater and Gregory Little. And I thought that they were a good fit based on what each person would bring to the table. Along the way, I think that they allow some of the success to get to them. I think that one of the shortcomings to us as Jamaican is when there are disagreements, we are afraid to sit down and talk it through. And sometimes we too feel like on our own we can do better. And it is not always truthful. So in my case, I personally see some of the athletes being affected by this breakup. They may not see it right now, but based on my knowledge and experience as a coach and mentor, I know it is not the best way to move forward in an Olympic year. I think it's going to take a little bit more time for them to grasp onto some of the concept that Gregory Little shared with them, because now the three that made the breakaway, I think they are working exclusively now with Michael Frater. That's the word on the street. I'm not 100% sure with that. But if that is the case, I hope that Michael Frater can get them quickly up to speed. And as I said before, people may look at the physical issues the athletes may have problems with. But I am looking more on the psychological issues. How do they feel about the breakup? What are some of the things that they feel they may not get with one person and they may get with the other? Because with the two, there was a balanced approach. One could motivate, one could coach. One was a technical director, one was a coach that came with other things. So I know that the athletes will suffer regardless of how we look at it, because it's always good when two individuals can sit down and communicate and break down issues and put it back together and then get a winning formula. I think in this case, they don't have that anymore. And I'm also hoping that even though they part ways, that the friendship will still be intact. And that is one of my concerns right now.
Later that video, you said you had a conversation with Dr. Gregory Horton. Dr. Horton, based on what you are saying, it seems to me that it's important to have closure here. Otherwise, it could impact performance or lack of performance going forward.
Well, and this is just me talking now. I've never said this to either Michael or Gregory, but I'm saying it now, that in most organizations, when you're leaving, there is an exit interview. I think both individuals need to sit down and communicate clearly. I think they need to hash out the differences. I also think that they need to communicate in terms of how the athlete should move forward, because I'm sure Michael Frater is connected to the athletes. I'm sure Gregory Little is connected to the athlete. And instead of them being rivals, I think it's best for them now to make sure that the friendship is intact and they can dissolve the business, the partnership agreement, but they should at least make sure that the friendship is still intact.
So basically what you're saying, is like it wasn't any sort of one outstanding issue. It was like an accumulation of differences of opinions and so on that could have brought this on.
Well, as men, we have egos, and sometimes we are not able to see ourselves. And sometimes we have differences in terms of philosophy, coaching philosophy. And if we are not together on the same page, you see, wife and husband normally don't always agree on how they should raise the child. And it's the same thing with coaching. Maybe one person want to do it this way, the other person want to do it that way. Maybe one person may be a little bit more aggressive in terms of how they communicate with the athlete. Maybe one person may be a little bit more empathetic. But what they did well together is that you could play good cop, bad cop, right? And that is beneficial because again they were fulfilling their purpose. In this case, you can't always play good cop because good cop is not gonna bring forth the result that you need, and you can't always play bad cop because you too know that athletes need motivation. So in this case, and this is why I am saying that it is best for them to work this out in the best way forward, moving forward, so they don't harbor any negative energy as they break apart and do their own thing.
With the departure of John Blake, Akeem Blake, and Brian Abidal, where does this leave Titan Soccer? Because these are the globally, these are the athletes that are recognized globally, Dr. Hall.
Yes, and that is true. And I know with those three names that you just mentioned, it will definitely cause some setback with the Titans now, because those were the three top athletes with contracts per se. At the end of the day, you still have to use your talent. I think Gregory Little has the talent to produce other athletes, and I think that he is focused on doing his best to develop the rest of talent that he has left. So the show must go on. The show would go on with or without them. And it's just like if these athletes do make the decision to walk away from Michael Frater sometime in the future, then he too would need to find new talent, nurture those talent, develop those talent, and see if he can use his ability to bring out the best in others.
Finally and briefly, how would this now affect? Was it an easy decision? The parting of the ways here. How tough a decision it was on either side?
Well, I can say that I don't think that it is something that they really wanted to do. As I said before, I really think that if the two individuals sat down and talked it through, they would realize that they jumped the gun. You know, I think one person wanted to leave more than the other, and as a result of that, I don't think a lot of thought was put through, you know. But time will tell. It's just me observing, listening to the different stories. But time will always tell. If we sit back and wait and look and watch and take notes, we will see whether or not the decision made to leave is the best one, because results is the name of the game when it comes to track and field.
Time will tell. Dr. Gregory Horton, former outstanding podium meter man and a mentor. And thank you very much, sir, for being on our show once again. And we know far more, we are a lot smarter and wiser for your having been here. Thanks.
Thank you very much for having me. God bless you.